icicles, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 2 of the Hot Gyal Marathon because it's a bad gyal birthday, because you know it's big blood clot 20. I am turning 20, guys. That is really crazy to me. It's still blowing my mind that I'm turning 20 years old, because that means that I have officially left my teenage years. Now granted, it's only by 1 year, but still, y'all, I am officially going to be in my 20s, which is crazy. So I got the idea from one of my lovely followers to do a video for you guys about 20 things that I have learned by 20. And of course, I had to drop the video on the 20th of October just because, you know, I like things like that. 20 things that I learned by 20 on the 20th for y'all. Okay, so I made a list of those things and I'm going to be sharing those things with you guys, but I first want you guys to, little disclaimer, understand that these are things that I've learned through trial and error. These are things that I have learned at different points in my life, so I didn't all learn it this year, and there are some things that I wish I had known before I am about to be 20 years old. Hopefully you guys watch this video and you guys get a little bit of insight into things that you should adopt now so that you don't have to learn them the hard way later. Now granted, I had to learn these things the hard way regardless, but nevertheless, I want to do my part and share them with you guys. I'm going to get straight into it right now. The first thing, you guys, is people will only treat you as bad as you treat yourself. I used to think the worse you treat yourself, it doesn't matter as long as, you know, you're doing it because you're helping other people, you're sacrificing things and taking things away from yourself so that other people can have. Like, I really thought that that is what life and being a good person was all about. And I've been reading a lot lately, and something that really came up not too long ago was that every negative thing that I have gone through in my life, I have allowed. Everything that is a scar now, everything that is a trauma for me now, I have allowed, because I didn't feel like I was worth more than what I was accepting. The better you treat yourself is the better that people are going to treat you, and you deserve to have a beautiful life just as much as you want everybody else around you to have a beautiful life. People are going to look at you and see that you don't give yourself nice stuff. You don't talk to yourself well. You don't hold yourself to a high standard, so they won't hold you to a high standard either. And a little example that I got watching a live the other day was this lady, she was saying that her friend, he only eats at really good restaurants because he has really like good taste in food. So he doesn't eat at cheap restaurants. So when she was going to do something for him for his birthday, she took him to a high-end restaurant because that's how he treats himself. So that's a little example for you guys, as people will only treat you as bad as you treat yourself or as good as you treat yourself. And you have to set that standard by showing them how you deserve to be treated by treating yourself that way. I hope you guys get that one. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is childhood trauma does not just disappear. I know this one kind of sounds like a little like deep, and it is kind of deep, but it really just means that the things that you go through when you're a child, most of the time we are never taught to deal with those things. We kind of just develop behaviors because of the trauma, and we never really assess those behaviors. So things like, for me, I was a really bad communicator, and I had to really think back to when did that start? When did I start struggling to explain myself? And I traced it back to when I was a kid, and at some point I felt like everything I had to say was irrelevant. As I go through my journey of unlocking the new levels of myself, I come to little roadblocks, and those roadblocks are behaviors that I developed as a result of things that I went through when I was a kid, or things that I went through a couple of years ago that I thought I healed from, or maybe I just got used to the pain from it and I just moved forward. But now they're like, hello, I'm here, you never dealt with me. Something that I'm working on now is resolving those issues, figuring out where they came from, and now pushing past them, because I know that I'm no longer that child anymore that went through that. I'm smarter, I'm stronger, I'm around different people. So childhood trauma does not disappear, but you can definitely work through it as you guys get older. Number 3. Success is not money, it is peace and happiness. For a long time when I was younger, I used to think, you know, me getting rich, all my problems will be solved, everybody will get along, everybody will be happy. But as I've gotten older, I realized that money really solves a lot of issues, but there's a lot of things that go on in people's lives that are contributing to their situation and them being unhappy that has to do with them emotionally. It has to do with you as a person. Something that my mother told me that always stuck with me is that rich people commit suicide too. And it's a little like deep to say, but it's really, really true. If you have all the money in the world but you're empty, you're scarred, you have all of this baggage on top of you, then what is that money to you? You know? And then something else that I also heard was, when you know that you're getting closer to your time expiring on this earth, you don't think about all the money that you've made. You think about all the relationships that you've built. So before you really like heavily chase money, it is more important to chase your happiness, your peace, and your purpose, because it really doesn't matter how much money you have if you're miserable. You have money to buy materialistic things, but money cannot fix what's wrong with you internally, unless you invest in like a therapist or something. Number four is a big one, guys. Number 4 is, it is okay to be flawed. My entire life, guys, I have hated the way that I look. I hate, my underarms are getting better because I started getting like laser, but I had dark underarms. I have really bad hyperpigmentation. My knees are dark. My elbows are really dark. Like, there's so many things about me. My butt is small. I used to want to do my boobs. Like, there's so many things about myself that I picked apart for so many years because other people picked them apart, and then the voices just continued to play in my head. So it's kind of like I knew, like, I just kept telling myself, when I get to a certain age, I'm gonna fix all these things. I'm going to get my butt done. I'm gonna get my boobs done. I'm gonna, like, all of these things to just fix who I am, to become like the idea of what a perfect woman looks like. And I had to tell myself, like, women are real. Like, we're real people. Like, you cannot help if you hit your arm, get a cut, and now you have a scar. Like, that's just how your body heals. It's okay to be flawed. It's kind of like me also learning that I am human. As much as I would like to be perfect, and as much as I would like everything to be my dream version of myself, there's nothing wrong with who I am. There's so many women who have hyperpigmentation. There's so many women who have, even men, right? So many people with dark elbows, dark knees, small butts, big boobs, small boobs. And I noticed that there's a lot of people who have the body that I want who don't want it. So it just is an internal thing for me, where I realized that it is okay to be flawed, because everybody is flawed, and you're only going to view yourself as flawed if you are comparing yourself to someone who you feel like looks better than you or has something better than you. But really studying the people around me, we all have things that we don't like about ourselves. So in reality, if you look at these people through their eyes, they're flawed to themselves too. So who you think is perfect is not really perfect, and who I think is perfect is not really perfect. Some people think I'm perfect. I don't think I'm perfect. Life is so much better when you stop picking yourself apart, and when you just accept that you are the way you are because God chose you to be this way. I came to a point where I was like, do I hate myself so much that I'm gonna do my butt? Now, I don't blame anybody who decides that they have the money and they want to go do their body, because if you have it and you really like want to do it, and you really feel like that's gonna really make you happy with yourself, then by all means go ahead. But I just figured that me doing it wasn't gonna really make me happy with myself, and I was gonna be going through my healing process. Like, I hated myself this much that I had to go and get surgery so that I could, and then spend 6 months trying to heal from this surgery just so that I could finally love myself. It's like, why would I put myself through that because I hated myself that much? That's gonna make me love myself. Life sucks not loving yourself. So it's either you're going to do something about it, or you're gonna realize that you don't need to do anything about it because you're perfect the way you are. 5, be careful with your energy. Y'all, that is something that I learned the hard way so many different times. God put me through cycle to come to the same conclusion, to be careful with your energy. So when you have a healing aura, people want to suck off of that. And sometimes it's not always like intentionally. Sometimes just broken people are attracted to healers. So you have to learn to be able to heal people in a way that doesn't drain you. Also, I realized that when you do certain things with negative energy, you get a negative outcome. So you have to make sure that the things that you do, especially the things that you're passionate about, are done with beautiful energy, because I've seen the difference between my work and my videos when I feel really, really good, and my work and my videos when I feel like, what the hell am I doing? So energy really like speaks volumes through whatever you do. 6 is quality over quantity. So when I say quality over quantity, I mean that with friends, I mean that with followers, I mean that with time, I mean that in so many different aspects. And this was something that took me so long to learn, because I've been telling you guys for the longest that I'm a workaholic, and being a workaholic is not always a good thing, because sometimes you're just addicted to feeling like you're doing something and you're probably doing a bunch of nothing. Now granted, I feel like I wasn't never doing a bunch of nothing, but I always felt myself like when I wasn't doing something, reaching for just to find something, anything to do, just because I wanted to feel like, you know, I was being productive. And really, if I spend 3 hours today, 3 hours straight editing and talking to my team and working on my businesses, and then I go about the rest of my day, as long as I gave that 3 hours my best and I did really productive work within those 3 hours, it is the same thing as if I would have spread out that 3 hours of work throughout my entire day and took little breaks in between and went to eat and got on my phone and went and scrolled on Instagram and maybe just inserted little things in there just because I needed to keep myself busy. Because you're doing higher quality work, you don't necessarily have to be working for 24 hours a day, but you'll be getting quality results. Also with friends, I never had a lot of friends, guys, I promise you, but what I realized is that there's very few people that really vibe with me, like on my same like level, like eye to eye, like soul to soul. So I am happy with that. I feel like if you have 20 million friends, you also gotta buy 20 million birthday presents. I don't have to buy 20 million birthday presents because I don't have 20 million friends. I got like 4 friends. Like even when it comes to my channel and my Instagram, people may consider this following smaller, but at least I know that you guys love my content, that you guys interact with my content, that you guys are here because you love me. Quality over quantity. You know, I'd rather have 100,000 really loving and loyal icicles than have 200,000 as the number on my channel and only 50 of you really want to talk to me. Number 7 is you do not have to harm yourself to prove that you are working. So you guys do not know this, but for a while back, it was a while back, I was doing so much and I'm like, okay, well, if I don't sleep tonight, at some point when I make it, I'm gonna be able to say,
all those sleepless nights, I stayed up and I am so grateful for that and it's all worth it.
Like I thought that had to be like my story. But it started to take a toll on me. My mental health was really suffering. Like I as a person wasn't doing too well. And I had to really sit back and be like, is this what success is supposed to feel like? Because it doesn't feel like that right now at all. Since then, I've really just been making it a priority to prioritize my well-being, and also back to the quality over quantity thing, mixing those two together so that I can successfully reach my goals, but also be good when I get there, also be healthy when I get there, also feel like a person when I get there. If you're doing it like unintentionally, you need the people in your life to check you and actually try to balance you, and that's what the people in my life. Number 8, the more you want to accomplish in life is the closer that you have to get to God, aka God is everything. When I got to one of my lowest points again and I felt like I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how I'm gonna continue, I really felt like out of control, I had to remember that I am out of control. There is an author, there is a storyline written for my life, and I needed to surrender to the fact that I am not in control, and that also chasing money is nowhere near as important as chasing purpose. And once I got back more connected with God, praying every day, listening to Sarah Jakes Roberts every day, studying every day to get closer to that divine version of myself, like, I'm so at peace right now, guys. Like, my spirit is so at peace. I feel like I am connected to something so much larger than myself that I can't even complain some days. That I just have to make sure I get out of bed in the morning. There's a higher purpose connected to me. There's a higher version of myself. There is a version of me that is so connected with God that everything I want, everything that is in my heart, every vision that I have had is fulfilled through Him because it is connected to my purpose. So, number 9 is morning routines are underrated. Guys, I have been working on making my morning routine a habit. I am absolutely going to make a morning routine video for you guys so that you guys can get an idea of like what a good morning routine looks like, because morning routines are the key to being sane for the rest of the day. When I make sure that I feed myself in the morning, physically, spiritually, emotionally, when I make sure that I go through those certain steps in the morning, I'm ready to tackle whatever the day throws at me. I'm ready to give myself away for the rest of the day, guys. And the more that it becomes a habit, you're used to pouring into yourself. You're used to taking care of yourself. You're used to leveling off your mind on a daily basis so that you can learn, so that you can grow, so that you can help other people learn and help other people grow with whatever profession you're in, with whatever job that you do. Take time for yourself because you are worth it, okay? And that's on period. So the next one is that books are absolute gold. Guys, I'm gonna leave a list of books that I have read or am currently reading in the comment section below because I want you guys to read, because books literally have so much knowledge in them, and it's like you don't get that same thing from listening to it, but you can try. There is nothing like having that book in your hand and like really like highlighting and underlining and like annotating the side of the pages, like, oh, I understand this, I felt this, I connected to this, and like really being in the moment with a book in silence by yourself. I cannot read ebooks because I get distracted by my text messages, but guys, books, read, listen to them, at least give yourself access to the information that is in them, because I'm promising you, like, the books that I have been reading have completely shifted the way that I look at things, the way that I look at other people, the way that I look at myself and my emotions and my habits. Guys, please read. Okay? Number 11, life is harder when you're alone. Now, I don't mean alone like you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I mean alone like you don't depend on anybody. You're like, okay, I'd rather just do everything by myself. When you kind of just shut other people out. When you shut other people out because of trauma, because of past situations, you rob yourself. You rob yourself of getting access to the people that God sent to get into the bad things with you. When we're going through crazy things, God sends us angels. And if you are so consumed with,
I'm gonna do this by myself, nobody can help me, I don't like depending on anybody,
you will struggle more than God intended for you to struggle, just because you couldn't humble yourself a little bit and realize that life is harder alone, that you don't have to do it alone, that not everybody is gonna throw things in your face, that sometimes there are angels that were sent for you. I was somebody, I hated asking for help. I always wanted to make sure like I looked like I had it all together. So if I had to struggle and do it by myself, that's how it was gonna go. And I realized that at some point it just became too much of a burden to continue moving like that. It became too much of a burden to say, okay, I'm just gonna figure it out, I'm gonna do it by myself. You will never reach any like high level of success by yourself. You're going to have a team, you're going to have people that help you along the way. Just as much as they're a part of your journey, you are a part of theirs. Next is time goes by so much faster when you're older. Guys, when I was in school, the days, the weeks used to drag. Now I'm not in school, I'm working on my business, I'm working on my channel, and it's like the days are just, it was just October 1st. And now look at us, we're here on the 20th. It's just, days are flying. But what I took from the lesson that life flies when you start to get older is that you don't have time to waste, and that every moment that you have, you definitely need to cherish and try to be as present as possible, because you'll never get these moments back. Every accomplishment, celebrate it. Every birthday, every memory, celebrate it, live in it, enjoy it, feel it. Okay, 13, intuition is real. Ladies, I know you feel me on this. How many times did you know I shouldn't go to that party? You went to the party, something crazy happened. How many times did you know I shouldn't talk to that guy, but you still went and talked to that guy? That's me. That was me. I was like, you know, I always had these feelings not to do things, not to become friends with certain people, not to put myself in certain places, not to go certain places. And I ignored my intuition every single time. I have really, really strong intuition, by the way. For some reason, I'm really, really in touch with it, and I'm really, really in touch with energies. So I know things before they happen. I know how things are gonna end before they end. And I've always convinced myself, you know, you're just being negative, you're just thinking about this as a past situation. So I try to push it away. I try to let people prove me wrong, and they prove me right every single time. The situation proves me right every single time. So being almost 20, intuition is real. That little voice that keeps talking to you, not the fear. 14, your highest duty is to yourself. That is something I read in a book, and ever since I read it, I've moved differently. We think it's so crazy to be selfish. I used to think, I hate selfish people. Like, you put yourself first. Like, I always put people before me, and I thought that's how it was supposed to be. But now reading, it makes so much more sense, because if you continuously put people before you, and you like, okay, well, I owe this person, and it's supposed to be like this, and you constantly put other people's happiness before yours, you will no longer be able to be a light for them, because you'll be bitter, because you'll be lonely, because you'll be drained, because you'll have sacrificed so much that there's nothing left for you. Your first duty is to yourself, to make sure you're happy, you're healthy, you're good, and then after you are all of the above, then you can give away what you have extra. 15, listen to your mom. My mom is gonna watch this, and she's gonna be like, you never listen to me, and she's probably right. I don't listen to her, but I love her very much. I will say that mothers are very, very intuitive as well, and a lot of the times, like, they can be a little bit overbearing, but it is because they see things that you don't see, and they've been through things that you have not been through, and it is their natural instinct to protect you. So sometimes you should listen to them. And also, like, you guys don't know this, but like, my mom literally is like my sister, and my sisters and I don't know how you say that properly, but my mom is literally like our backbone. Like, without my mom, like, this video probably would not get posted. Without my mom, like, my documents for school would not be in when I was in school. Like, my brand deals and stuff like that probably would not get completed, because my mom is like literally my organization and my sanity, because I'm very, very like just all over the place. And sometimes, like, I'm so focused on like one task or one goal that everything else just, I don't see it. I don't know, for some reason I just got like tunnel vision, and sometimes it's bad that I have tunnel vision, because I miss all these things. Thankful for her, I don't miss them, because she throws them in my view for me to see them and take care of them. 16, no one is supposed to be or do anything. This I learned from my parents, actually. And I didn't learn this from them because they told me. I learned this from watching them. No matter how much years you've been on this earth, you're still a human, and everyone around you is still human. And I remember just getting so upset when I was younger, because I'm like, things are supposed to be a certain way. Like, as a mom, you're supposed to do this. As a dad, you're supposed to do this. As a cousin, as a friend, as a this, you're supposed to, like, just putting all of these expectations on people just because of who they were in my life. And I had to learn that we're all human. We're all going through things. We've all been through things. So sometimes our trauma or our scars don't allow us to be what a cousin should be, or what a mom should be, or what a dad should be, or what an uncle should be. Like, sometimes life just turns us into something else. And it's not an excuse, of course, but you also have to understand that who are you to put a standard on somebody else, not knowing everything that they have been through and not knowing how hard they probably tried to be or are trying to be what a parent is supposed to be or what a cousin is supposed to be. So it's basically like just learning to give people their room to make their mistakes and not expecting them to know everything and do everything right, because they are human. As much as we would like everybody to be perfect, look at yourself. Look at how many times, like me, there's a bunch of people in my life who could have said, well, as a sister, you should have did this, and I didn't do it because of a way that I have become, because of what life has done to me. So you really got to think about that and really just give people grace and be very like just forgiving with them. And that's why we have like school moms and school dads and uncles that became uncles because you knew them for so long and things like that, because they fill in where your auntie might drop off, or your sister might drop off, or your mom might drop off. That's why it's always important to cherish the people that are brought into your life. 17 is planning and being organized is so important. That goes back to listening to my mom. My mom is probably one of the most organized people that I know, the best planner that I know. Well, she's an event planner, so it makes sense, but like life is so less all over the place and so less stressful when you have a calendar, when you have a planner, when you write notes in your phone. Like, I used to forget things so much. Like, if my head wasn't attached to my body, I'd probably forget it. But me using my reminders on my phone, me using my calculator, me putting post-its all up and down my room, that has helped me remember things and actually complete tasks so much more. 18, blonde streaks are my color. That is something that I learned a couple of years ago, actually, because I think the first time I put streaks in my hair was a couple of years ago. But I find that I just like how I look better with those like highlights in my hair. Like, I have them now, you guys see them. Like, I miss my hair sometimes with like it being all dark brown, but I don't know, I just feel like I'm such a hottie with these streaks. Like, I feel like that's my look, and it's really cool because my mom's look is actually streaks as well. Now granted, when I turn 30, I might not like streaks anymore. I might just have to let it grow out and cut off the streaks or dye it all back or whatever the case may be. Number 19, drink lots of water and eat better, and that will help with a lot of your skin problems. I remember when I was younger trying so many different soaps, looking up so many different remedies, looking up so many different things. I remember I actually burnt my skin, and I'll show you guys when I actually share my skin journey with you guys. But I burnt my skin, and it was like, it took like a month to clear up, and then it left like darkness all over here. Like, I was struggling. Your girl was struggling, but I decided, let me figure out, okay? Because a lot of people say that good skin starts within, and they're right. You drink more water, you stop eating candy, you stop eating like really greasy stuff, like you pay attention to what you eat more, you'll see a difference in your skin. And number 20, change is inevitable. And I put this one as number 20 because I wanted you guys to really understand that all of these things that I said, I learned these things through making changes, through life changing, and then me having to adjust. So the biggest thing that sums all of these things up is that change is inevitable, and as things change, you have to learn to adjust. Also, don't be scared of change, and don't think that change always has to be a negative thing. There are people that I used to speak to every single day, be on FaceTime for hours with them, and I don't even speak to them at all. I love them, they know I love them, I still have their numbers, but I don't speak to them because I don't have time to, or maybe we outgrew each other, but there's nothing but love between us. It's just that sometimes you outgrow people, or maybe your paths just separated, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Also, like me, doing certain things, going certain places, wanting to do certain things, there's a lot of things that I used to want to do that I don't want to do anymore. There's a lot of things that I never used to want to do, and now I want to do them. And it's just because as time goes on, you evolve. And something that I actually listened to in a video the other day was that when you're 20, you're in your 20s, you are going to have the opportunity to reinvent yourself about 4 more times over. So I'm not going to be this same girl or this same woman, I will say. I'm not going to be this same woman in the next 20 years. I may not even have my hair like this. I might have all my hair shaved off. I might wear weaves all the time. I might wear, like, who knows what I'm gonna be in the next 20 years. Just give yourself room to grow and don't resist change, because you're changing for a reason. The life that you're living now, where you are right now, is a result of all the choices and all the habits that you have now. As you grow and your mind expands and your habits change, you're gonna be different. I'm completely different than I was a couple months ago, and I can't even imagine being that girl that I was a couple months ago and making the decisions that I made a couple months ago. So that just goes to show you guys, life is a constant growing journey, and it's perfectly fine. It's meant to be that way, right? It's meant to be that way, okay? So with that being said, we have gotten through the 20 things that I have learned by the time I turned 20. I hope that you guys really felt me. I hope that you guys really enjoyed hearing about my process of growth. I definitely have a lot more growing to do. I'm nowhere near done growing, like I just finished talking about. So I hope that you guys stick around, subscribe to my channel so that you guys can continue to see me develop into whatever version of myself that God wants me to be. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Hot Gyal Marathon. Later!